What is up, guys? Lincoln here. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Dread Captures. Happy early 4th of July. If you celebrate that, gotta love America. We have another great video for you this week put together by our team. As always, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, drop us a comment on what you want to see, and we'll try to put it in the next one. The popular YouTube channel Angry Grandpa is known for its staged scenarios featuring a grumpy grandpa and his grandson. However, one video sparked a frenzy due to an apparently unscripted anomaly. In one particular video, viewers noticed a strange movement behind a trash can in the background. A figure with a head that appears disproportionately small seems to be peeking out from behind the can before disappearing from sight. The size of the head suggests it's unlikely to be a child. So, what could it be? Commenters suggested a few things. A camera problem, a technical glitch with the camera, or a blurry object captured in the background could create the illusion of a small head. Others believe it is a definite alien. Another person said that it's just a little person. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that Angry Grandpa and his grandson don't acknowledge the figure in the video adds to the mystery. Like, even when it was edited, they didn't even see it. And I'd agree with some that this lack of reaction fuels speculation that they genuinely didn't see it. Nevertheless, without a definitive answer, the video remains an unexplained oddity. Unbelievable new footage shows an orca taking down a great white shark in less than 2 minutes. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but this is becoming a more common occurrence in the South Atlantic Ocean. It appears that these orcas are getting quite the reputation. They're getting known for hunting great white sharks for their livers, which are rich in fat and oil. Now, while it's not a huge problem now, researchers are worried that this could have a negative impact on the ecosystem. As we all know, great white sharks are apex predators, generally at the very tip top of the food chain. Scientists are trying to understand why this is happening more often. Some theories include climate change and the discovery by orcas that great white shark livers are a valuable food source. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. I feel like that's just a pretty big waste for an orca just to kill a great white shark to eat its liver, but however, I don't think they're capable of justification, so it probably doesn't matter to them. Yeah, sorry, what is going on here in this absolutely nightmare fuel video? A doorbell security camera caught this terrifying scene late night. The video started with the man dressed as a clown swiftly approaching the front door, and you can see he's holding a gigantic knife. Clearly with sinister intentions. He's jiggling the lock trying to get in, and luckily despite his efforts, the front door was securely locked, stopping him from getting in the home. But the creepy events didn't end there. More footage shows the man wandering around back, going around the property, searching for another way inside. He eventually gets to the back door and makes another unsuccessful attempt to break in. After exploring the backyard without any luck, he finally just gives up and leaves. Thank God. I mean, I don't like clowns, but I can't even describe to you what that would feel like. Getting those alerts and then seeing that person, whether you saw it at night or the next morning. I mean, that's traumatizing. That's what that'll do. I pray that that was some type of sick joke. Whoa, this fire video is crazy. Look at this guy near the flames. I mean, what is he doing? Some folks are saying that it's just someone frustrated about losing their stuff in the fire, which is pretty understandable. But others are going all supernatural, thinking this is a Slender Man or even a skinwalker because of the figure's shapes and movements. Honestly, I don't know if it's a cryptid, but I can say this guy seems like he's standing way too close to this fire. I mean, if we're using that type of rationale, then this creepy figure really could be something supernatural, from the cryptid world, from another dimension, whatever. Another dramatic rescue unfolded in the frigid waters off the coast of Russia. A lone dog, separated from his pack, found itself stranded on a drifting piece of ice. The harsh wind and icy temperatures threatened the dog's life. Now, authorities were called, and on shore they recognized the dire situation, and they called for an ice rescue team. However, I mean, it was getting late. Time was running out for the helpless dog. The freezing water, the wind, I mean, it wasn't getting any warmer. Unable to bear witness to the dog's suffering any longer, a sailor aboard a nearby Russian ship took matters into his own hands. In a selfless act of heroism, he said screw it. He disregarded the danger and dove right into the icy water. I mean, this guy was battling. He had all the elements against him. I mean, he swam right towards the stranded dog. Unbelievable. His bravery ensured the dog's safe return to its waiting friends on shore, who were pumped to see him, wagging their tails, barking. You know, this is just a man doing man things, and this serves as a good reminder of the compassion and the bravery that can emerge in the face of danger. Kudos to that guy. Now, this next clip, I mean, this is exactly what I would expect Bigfoot to look like. I will say this guy looks like he's on steroids, but that would explain all the power he has in ripping up and throwing trees and all types of stuff. I'll say this, despite its big look appearance, I mean, it's hard to tell if this is the real deal. I feel like this video would have gotten more publicity. But a few years ago, I mean, I probably would have believed this without question, but with today's AI tools, man, it's hard to be sure. It's hard to siphon through this stuff and try to find the real deal. Okay, so this clip is extremely scary. Okay, so this clip is extremely scary. This doorbell camera footage shows a mom and her child walking into their home, completely unsuspecting. It looks like they're just returning home from an errand. Now, if you look to the left of the screen, you can see the guy walking, and it appears pretty normal until he starts to pick up the pace. And honestly, our perspective from the camera, like, here's the scary part. The mom has no idea. You can see, though, that her baby daughter has spotted the stranger following close behind. She notices something. Well, her spidey senses are telling her that this dude is trouble. And sure enough, a man with a full mask hiding his face, clearly up to no good, rushes behind them as soon as she's able to get in the door. I mean, they literally dash inside just in time. Look at this guy. This is nuts, man. While the mom calls the police, she reviews the footage later and realizes how close they came to danger. Come to find out, the situation gets even more alarming. The police are already hunting for a similar suspect in a string of recent attacks. And without saying, these are the attacks that are extremely brutal. I know this mother needs no reminder, but this close call serves as a wake-up to everyone. They were just moments away from a life-changing, horrific situation. Anyhow, thank God that they are safe, and hopefully this guy ends up where he's supposed to be, under the jail. So this trail cam photo is seriously creepy. A hunter checks his camera and finds a pic of glowing eyes on this pale figure, standing in kind of a weird stance, just staring right at the camera. I mean, it almost looks like an alien or something. And the guy who owns the camera lives in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't have any neighbors and says there shouldn't have been anyone in the woods, not even an illegal hunter, and especially not at night. So with that logic, if it's not human, well, what is it? Some folks think it's a rake, the creepy, pale monster that lurks through the woods. Others are saying it's more extraterrestrial, something more from another world or dimension. I'll say this, it doesn't look normal, that's for sure, but the blurry photo makes it really hard to tell. So what do you think? Monster? Mistake? Hoax? Something else? Let me know. So this next clip, I know that if you've been following this niche of videos, you have seen this video before. It's of a guy lurking around an apartment complex. It's at night. I know multiple other channels have shown it, but to find out who it is, that's the crazy part. A series of troubling incidents at a duplex in Hudson, Wisconsin ended with the revelation that the alleged culprit was a high-ranking corporate executive. In March of 2022, residents of a duplex on Locust Street reported several nights of unsettling events, including someone peeping through their windows. Things took a turn for the worse when surveillance footage caught a man in dark clothing sneaking up to a window and trying to look through the closed blinds. The following night, after more reports of suspicious activity, a nearby resident spotted the same man from the video lurking outside the duplex. The footage was shared around the neighborhood to raise awareness. It showed the man leaving in a Mini Cooper. That explains it. This car was later found empty in a nearby Wells Fargo bank parking lot. Now, of course, through running the tags and further investigation, this vehicle was linked to 49-year-old Robert T. Cesena, the global key account vice president for 3M at the time. When police went to his home just a few blocks from where the incident occurred, he matched the description from the video perfectly. Cesena claimed that he had car trouble and was on a call with his 3M colleagues in Asia, explaining his presence near the duplex. However, his story fell apart due to discrepancies in his account of his family's activities that evening, causing police to question his honesty. When asked what they did that night, Cesena said his family watched Solo together, the movie, but his wife said they watched Iron Man 3. He was arrested on March 13th and put on administrative leave by 3M, with his employment terminated soon after. In court, he pleaded no contest to amended charges of criminal trespass to a dwelling and 2 counts of disorderly conduct, downgraded from the initial felony of stalking. This plea was part of a deferred judgment agreement that could let him avoid conviction if he completes a 3-year diversion program. So, what do you think? So first of all, it answers the question of those videos that were floating around about who this person was. Like I mentioned earlier, I had seen them multiple times, and everyone just thought it was a peeping Tom, but it was actually a peeping Robert. Anyhow, what do you think? Did he get off easy? Maybe because of his high-profile job? A heartwarming display of maternal instinct unfolded recently in Turkey. Firefighters received a frantic call about 8 puppies trapped in a water drainage canal near a beach. The problem? The rising seawater threatened to drown these helpless pups. And unfortunately, there were many rescue challenges that lay ahead. The firefighters arrived on the scene determined to save the puppies. However, after opening the drainage canal, they faced a new obstacle. None of them were small enough to squeeze through the narrow opening to reach the trapped animals. Just as hope seemed to dwindle, straight out of a movie, one firefighter noticed the puppy's mother watching anxiously from a nearby building. In a moment of inspiration, the firefighter thought, hell, I'm gonna whistle to her, get her attention. And boom, remarkably, the mother dog sprang into action. Mama Dog crawled through the small drainage canal opening. One by one, she retrieved her puppies, carrying them back to safety. By this time, a crowd had gathered, and they were touched by this display of bravery. And it was pretty cool. They cheered with each successful rescue. One onlooker aptly summed up the scene, quote, "This is what motherhood is." The mother's dog courage and selflessness in the face of danger became a testament to the powerful bond between mothers and their young. Man, always a reminder of the extraordinary things mamas will do for their offspring. This incredible video showcases an epic battle between some wolves and a giant black bear. The wolves have a den nearby and they're protecting their precious little pups. The pups are only a few weeks old, but the powerful pack instinct of the wolves to keep them safe is on full display. Despite the bear's imposing size, it realizes that it's not worth it to go against this fiercely protective family. This was a great camera capture. It's actually shot from multiple angles, so you can capture the full viewing experience. This is a pretty crazy video here. A hawk has dive bombed a makeshift chicken coop looking to score an easy meal. After things don't go as planned, the hawk tries to abort the mission, but he's stuck. He can't seem to get out of the enclosure, and the roosters are on him. They're determined to make him pay. They chase him into the hen house where they ultimately go out of camera view. Man, those roosters were not intimidated at all. I really wonder what the end result of this was. A person exploring the Forest of Amherst took a video, and it was a little disturbing. They walked upon a structure made of branches in the middle of the forest. At first glance, one might think it was made by kids playing, or even just a person seeking shelter for the night. However, upon closer inspection, the person recording the video noticed small twigs tied up in different formations, as if someone had been trying to create strange symbols. What do you guys make of these? I don't know enough about them to know if they're satanic, but what's even scarier is at the end of the video. The recording captures someone running away in the woods. Of course, the recorder didn't pursue them. Anyhow, the rumor has it that Amherst has a history of rituals and strange sightings. What do you guys think? In this scene, a female elk bravely defends her calf against a pack of wolves in the water. The pack of wolves are using cunning tactics to engage in a struggle with the female elk. To avoid the wolf pack, the mama elk takes the initiative and jumps into the river with her calf. At first, the female elk relies on her size and strength, not necessarily taking the wolf pack seriously. Although she doesn't have the large antlers of a male elk, her powerful limbs are also effective weapons. A kick from her could cause a lot of damage and even be fatal. While she's trying to fend them off and protect herself, her most important priority is keeping her calf safe, who is the true target of the wolf pack. At this point, the wolf pack has begun to wade into the water towards the elk and her calf. The mother elk takes the attack to the wolf pack to protect her calf. The wolf pack begins to use their tactics on the elk. Their strategy of retreating when the enemy advances and attacking when the enemy is vulnerable. They constantly harass and pursue her. Through years of hunting experience, the pack's coordination is impressive. You can see as they take turns attacking, not giving the mama elk any chance to catch her breath. She's becoming exhausted. Her physical and mental strength are draining. She even forgets about her calf for a moment. Seizing the opportunity, the wolf pack pounces on the calf, ready to bite. Fortunately, at the last minute, the female elk steps in. Although the wolf pack has strength in numbers, and that's a big advantage, they still do not dare confront the female elk head on. No one wants to be kicked by her. But they also cannot give up their prey. They adjust their strategy once again. We can see the female elk is infuriated and launches a powerful attack on the wolf pack, causing them to scatter. However, blinded by this rage, she makes a huge mistake while driving away the wolf pack. Her calf cannot keep up with her footsteps, and the wolf pack sees an opportunity to attack. And wave after wave of wolves keep coming. The female elk has no time to rest. Facing such organized and disciplined, strong, wild wolves, it is almost impossible to escape. Finally, the wolf pack sees the opportunity and takes the calf. The mother wants to rescue her child, but she's missed the best time. She can only watch as her calf is dragged ashore by the wolf pack. Another harsh, cruel reality of the animal kingdom. I stumbled upon this video and read the comments, and a few viewers I encountered thought this was pretty funny. However, I have a feeling the Wolverine didn't see it that way. A man living out in the wild in Russia caught this video of a Wolverine with a bucket on its head being chased by a hungry wolf. Now, I've shown some videos recently of Wolverines, and I think we can all agree they are nothing to mess with. But the wolf just can't help himself. He sees that the Wolverine is at a distinct disadvantage, and he's ready to make him a meal. The Wolverine does a pretty good job staving off the wolf, considering he can't even see. The camera operator did say that the wolf tried to attack the Wolverine a little more aggressively, but eventually the Wolverine shook the bucket off his head, and he was able to defend himself now. Both of them ultimately went their separate ways. Here's some really interesting footage. This deer passing by triggers this motion trail camera, but that's not the end of it. Take a look at what else the camera captured. In the background, you can see a strange, tall, column-like object passing by very quickly behind the deer's back. It was so fast that the deer barely had any time to react, except to look scared in its direction. I'm not quite sure what that thing was. The owner of the video jokingly suggested that it might be a pile of rocks walking by. But that's definitely not what it is. Anyhow, I'm just as baffled as you are. If it was just a glitch, then why did the deer react so strongly to it? If it were a glitch, he wouldn't even notice. Anyhow, I'll keep you updated if I find out more. I'm just going to let this video of this black panther and leopard play, but I'm curious who you think would win in a fight. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to issue a warning. Some people might not like the next video clip. Now, I've seen this video a few times and I really wasn't sure if I should put it in. However, when you break it down, it's really a story of never giving up, of grit, of determination, and it's less about the attack. So on this outdoor camera, you see this squirrel just enjoying some food, when all of a sudden, boom, the hawk swoops in and snatches this unexpected squirrel. It looks like his days are numbered, but watch what happens. The squirrel is able to somehow break free and the hawk flings him. Unreal. The squirrel walked away, and honestly, I wasn't thinking he would survive. But a few days later, look who it is. Mr. Squirrel, back at the same spot. And look on his body. He's wearing the battle scars proudly. As we rewind and watch the part where the hawk flings the squirrel off to the side, what do you guys think happened? The squirrel had to have bitten him. That's all I can think of. Great camera capture. Let me know what you guys think. This next clip is very interesting and not something I necessarily knew that happened. As you can see, a bear has acquired a moose carcass. Whether he killed it or found it, I don't know. You can see him trying to bury it next to this stream, while a few wolves stand by salivating. The bear grabs the disturbed earth, trying to cover him up. When he thinks he's done a good enough job, he heads off. Clearly that was not a good enough job because the wolves quickly moved the dirt off and had a feast. When they were finished, it was the vultures' turn, and they destroyed it, eventually pulling and prying and dragging it into the stream. Just a great camera capture. CCTV footage taken at night in the dead of winter shows a moose pretty close to this home. The homeowner had just left for work when he received a notification on his phone that the door surveillance camera had captured something. To his surprise, he just saw a big old moose standing there in his driveway. Anyhow, he went back to work. But as we can all see, the moose shakes his head vigorously and suddenly both of his antlers fall right off. The falling antler startled the moose and he took off. Hours later, the homeowner returned and found the shed lying in the snow on his driveway. He kind of laughed and thought, I wonder if that guy was abducted by aliens. Nevertheless, he couldn't believe his luck. He brought him inside, soaked him, and cleaned him. After a while, he reviewed the surveillance footage, and he got the chance to watch the moose shed those antlers right in front of his house. The man loved his new trophy and just felt grateful for the unexpected gift from nature. I wish I had more backstory on this capture, but what's about to happen is pretty nutty. These chicks are in a cage staying warm from that heat lamp when out of nowhere, this huge hawk shows up. He flew in from the outside and snatches one of the chicks. It's crazy. The owner said that he edited the video because it was pretty long, but about an hour later, the hawk showed back up and tried again. And you can see the hawk circling the cage. The man said that he did this for a while. Thankfully, he was unsuccessful. But man, these birds of prey, they are savages. Taken in the Philippines, this is a pretty funny video right here. You can see this little pup trying to break up a fight between these roosters. He better watch out. An incredible video taken in Canada where a man and his friend walk up on a deer that has been frozen to death. The man pokes the deer with his rifle just to make sure. Whoa! I guess he's alive. So that deer is just sleeping in the field, covered in snow. The only distinguishable thing were his antlers. Man, he looked like he was sleeping hard too. Canadian deer must just be built different. Let me know about this. I know deer pick a spot and bed down. I've seen that many times. But I don't think I've ever seen them sleeping in the middle of the field with no surrounding protection from people or the elements. I'm curious to hear anyone's thoughts about this. This clip is just a pretty cool one to me. Training hunting dogs is big where I come from. The instructor has laid out some raw meat in a line and then funnels her dog out to the courtyard where they face it head on. Watch as all the dogs line up and obey her, not touching the meat. Except for that one little guy with the arrow over his head. He can't help it. He's the class clown. She gives the command for them to eat, and they go wild. Look at the mayhem. Awesome command and control by the trainer and willpower of the dogs. Watch it a few times, and each time, pick a different dog to watch. It's pretty funny. Even the ones that come in at the end. This is a pretty crazy / funny video here. Taken in, yep, you guessed it, Australia. A home security camera captured the moment a kangaroo and a man got into a fight in his front yard. You see the man come around the corner and the kangaroo is chasing him. I mean, I know they can be aggressive, but dang. The man gets up and is hitting the kangaroo with a stick, which doesn't seem to be doing much. Finally, the man takes the kangaroo down. All the while, his dog is barking in the fenced enclosure in the background. Man, I wish I knew what happened after this. I wish the camera didn't stop rolling. This is great. I don't mean to laugh because I could tell this man was fighting for his life, but it's just a great video. I don't have much information on this video other than a pilot saying he caught this on camera and thinks it's a UFO. I'm going to let it play a few times and I'd love to know everyone's thoughts. I mean, to me, it looks like it could just be a plane. It's oddly shaped and flying in the path of and very close to this other plane, but I just don't know. I'd be interested if there were any pilots listening to this that could shed some light on what this could be. First of all, is that an odd shape for a plane? Is the speed abnormal? And can you confirm or deny that this seems a pretty dangerous way to fly? Especially if in fact that it is just another plane and not a UFO. I don't know, I would just love to know more information about this. I'm unsure of which country this is in, but an outdoor camera captured the moments an owner and her dog have a scary encounter with a snake. The dog catches that thing out of the corner of his eye, and he doesn't hesitate. Goes into full attack mode and snatches this snake. He flings it into the driveway where he spins and flips it all over the place. You can see as the snake tries to bite the dog. One last time, the dog picks the snake up and takes him out of camera view. And you can see the husband and wife duo come out with a broom to break up the fight. Lastly, it's unknown if this snake was poisonous or not. He was definitely a pretty good sized one. Can anyone tell what kind of snake this is? Or if it is anything other than just a plain old black snake? In Colombia, a farmer stumbled upon a mysterious creature while he was tending to his bees in the field. This creature, which had a black color and 2 horns atop its head, had been hiding in a prickly bush before it was discovered. Once the farmer caught sight of the creature, he decided to grab his camera and film it. As he approached the unknown beast, it appeared to stare directly at him, giving off a very unsettling energy. The farmer said he couldn't shake the feeling that the creature would attack him at any moment, so he made sure to keep his distance. After a few minutes of observation, the horned beast disappeared behind the bushes and vanished without a trace. The farmer was relieved but also puzzled by what he had seen. When he checked the surrounding area, there was no evidence the creature had ever been there. With its striking appearance and elusiveness, the mysterious creature remains a topic of debate among the locals, who have dubbed it the Colombia En Crypted. In this next clip, these 2 young boys saw this really weird creature roaming a field outside their house, dressed in all white and crouched down like it was some kind of wild animal. At first, they weren't sure if it was even real, but one of them thought he'd get a bit closer to check it out. And that's when the thing started screaming in this bizarre voice and suddenly stood up and charged straight at them. Needless to say, they were totally freaked out and ran as fast as they could back into their house. But wouldn't you know it, after hiding out for only a few minutes, they decided to peek outside to see if the creature was still there. And sure enough, it was still hanging outside their house like nothing had happened. And to make things even more spooky, their dog started barking at it too. The boys were later interviewed by a cryptid hunter, and they were pretty freaked out. No one seems to know what this could have been. Do you guys have any insight? One of your worst nightmares is to have a guest that won't leave. Well, similar to that, this is just a hilarious camera capture. Look at this. A man recently had an unexpected encounter while boating on Puget Sound off the coast of Washington. He spotted two enormous sea lions swimming nearby and decided to record them, when suddenly the massive marine animals decided to take a break and rest on top of someone's sailboat. Yeah, look at the way the boat tilts. It's clearly not designed to handle these types of passengers. Each of these bad boys can weigh up to 2,500 pounds and reach 11 feet in length. Now, the sailboat that is anchored in the harbor looks a little older. It's probably not abandoned, but maybe. A few other instances that have been caught on camera like this, and the boats were definitely not abandoned. I'm guessing these lions are just taking a breather or looking for a place to sun themselves. Anyhow, great capture. I've never seen anything like this. A man was asked to watch a friend's property while they were on vacation. He became paranoid after hearing strange sounds, and he knew that some odd occurrences had happened to the neighbors that lived on that road. To ensure his safety, he set up trail cameras around the perimeter fence. And while reviewing the footage one night, it appears that one afternoon, he captured an image of a large, furry, bipedal creature with massive hands and legs walking past the camera. He was freaked out. This was captured in the middle of the afternoon. As he scrolled through more footage, it became apparent that the creature appeared every day around the same time, suggesting that it was keeping an eye on this man. When the man house-sitting screenshot and texted an image of this creature to his friend, the owner of the property, all he got back was a warning not to upset the creature. The friend said that the neighboring properties had all seen it, but nobody knew what this thing was. The man that was house-sitting seemed to have a change of heart. Now he thought he was just the butt of a joke, that they were all playing a prank on him. There's no way that this could be a real creature running around this little neighborhood. So he figured that this had to be just one of the neighbors running around in a suit. So the very next day, he yelled at it and decided he was going to expose the prankster. However, when he did yell at it, the creature ran away so fast that he immediately knew that whatever this was, it was not human. He never saw the creature again. But every single night, something on the property was destroyed. Gardens, flower beds, a rope swing, the windows of a beat-up pickup, and more. Does anyone have any idea what this creature could have been? A park ranger stumbled upon a wrestling match in the California woods. Two birds of prey were locked into each other with their talons. He described the battle being between a sparrowhawk and a juvenile kestrel. You can definitely see a distinct size advantage. If you remember a few videos back, the kestrel was the bird that hovered in the air, and its head remained completely motionless until it was time to attack. Well, it looks like he was on the wrong end of this fight. Anyhow, it appears he survived. The smaller bird that flew off was said to be the kestrel, and you can see the hawk standing on the ground is pretty good sized. Just a great capture here. Another video from California shows the moment a man found an unusual tree on the edge of his farm. At first glance, this looks more like a portal than a tree. But upon closer examination, it was discovered that the tree was still burning from the inside out. But upon closer examination, it was discovered that the tree was burning from the inside out. This tree had caught fire during the wildfire, and even though it had been contained for several days, the tree continued to burn. The man observed that the tree was smoking and had small holes on the inside where the flames were visible. However, the outer layer of the tree appeared to be relatively undamaged. Some people aren't so sure that the fire was caused by the wildfire. Another possible explanation for this is that lightning may have struck the tree and caused the inside to catch on fire. And perhaps the reason why only the inside burns and not the trunk is because the inner layer of the tree is moist, which makes it easier for the fire to catch and burn the tree from the inside out. I will say the image of this burning tree is both fascinating and eerie, and it serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of wildfires and natural disasters in general. Just awesome footage. A few videos ago, we saw a similar situation where a man's home was invaded by birds. And if you think that couldn't have been any worse, in this video, these are bats, not birds, flying into this home's chimney. I really hope the homeowner is the one taking the video so they're not actually in the house. And statistically, this is pretty odd, but bats are known to occasionally fly down chimneys in search of a roosting site. Chimneys provide suitable shelter for bats because they often have a dark, cool, relatively dry environment that is similar to the natural roosting sites bats prefer, such as caves. Anyhow, do any of you have any experience with something like this? I hope not. In October of 2019, wildlife authorities in Kenya were puzzled by a giraffe wearing an unusual necklace. Yep, a tire stuck around its neck. Luckily, a mobile veterinary unit was sent to rescue the animal. But as you can imagine, it was pretty difficult to dart and sedate that massive creature. After a group effort, the rescues were able to relax the giraffe and gently remove the tire using ropes. After the tire was removed, the giraffe was given medical attention to treat the wounds caused by the tire. The awesome rescuer stayed with the giraffe until she woke up, making sure she was alert and stable before releasing her back into the wild. Rescuers are unsure of how or for how long the giraffe was in contact with the tire. It was most likely dumped by a person, and this is a reminder of the dangers that human-made objects can pose to wildlife, and to just basically not litter. In what the owner of this video says is a once-in-a-lifetime event, in August of 2017, a three-legged deer nicknamed Tripod was spotted in South Texas. The curious creature was observed standing perfectly on its three limbs. You can see the small knobby protrusion on its front shoulder that appeared to be a piece of bone or old joint. It is likely that the animal was born without one of its legs, versus possibly losing it to a wilderness accident. And as you can imagine, while this absence of a limb could have posed significant challenges for the animal in the wild, it has adapted remarkably well. The deer has not only learned to compensate for its disability by balancing its body on three legs, but it also runs pretty normally, and I would imagine that it has to escape predators. Anyhow, a truly miraculous example of nature's adaptability. Check out this awesome video featuring these three dogs that look like they are frozen in time. They're gazing off in the same direction without even a blink. Check them out. It's crazy. Some viewers have even wondered if these dogs are possessed or under some kind of hypnosis. But the truth is, they're just incredibly well trained. These pups have been taught to hold perfectly still until their master gives them a specific signal, which is a remarkable feat of group discipline, even for highly intelligent sheep herding dogs. They were able to remain motionless for a full 30 seconds before finally sprinting off on command. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure when you would ever use this or what for, but it is pretty interesting. And if you rewind, you see that one dog move his head in the background. Pretty funny. A Good Samaritan story here, as last January a man came across a deer in distress. The poor thing was swimming in circles in extremely cold weather and appeared to be disoriented. And upon closer inspection, the man realized that a paint bucket was covering her eyes and her nose and mouth, making it difficult for her to breathe. The deer's chances of survival were decreasing rapidly, as there was a high likelihood that the bucket could fill up with water and pull her down under with it. Not to mention, she could exhaust herself just swimming in circles, unable to see where to go. Fortunately, the man spotted her in time and called for help from a nearby boat. And after several attempts, they were finally able to rescue her. However, the deer was still confused and continued to circle in the water. So the rescuer took a brave step and grabbed her tightly, got her back towards the shoreline, where she eventually ran out of the water. Similar to the deer, in April of 2015, a greedy lion from a Dutch zoo found himself in a precarious situation. He couldn't help himself, so he dove his face into the feeding barrel that was chock full of raw meat and meant for his entire pride. In his eagerness, the lion's head becomes stuck, and he found himself trapped. The concerned members of his pride tried to help, but the lion's restlessness was nullifying their efforts. As the panicked lion continued to struggle, and zookeepers worried that he might hyperventilate and pass out, they made the difficult decision to sedate it. Thankfully, the lion was unharmed and eventually freed from the barrel. This should serve as a reminder to us all that greed can lead to dire consequences, even for the king of the jungle.